For decades, Silicon Valley believed it could reshape human reality, build worlds, replace the physical with the digital, and persuade millions of people that life could be better inside a machine. But in 2021, one man took that belief to the extreme. Mark Zuckerberg, facing a collapsing reputation and a broken public trust, decided to gamble everything. His solution? Not to fix Facebook, but to escape from it. He renamed his trillion-dollar empire. He redrew the future of the internet. And he told the world that the Metaverse would change everything. 4 years later, that dream is gone. And in its place stands the most expensive disaster in the history of modern technology. October 28, 2021. The day Facebook died and Meta was born. With a single sweeping announcement, Mark Zuckerberg didn't just rebrand his company. He declared the dawn of a new reality. He promised a future where physical limitations no longer mattered, a world where the digital and physical would seamlessly merge. The pitch was intoxicatingly ambitious. For the professional world, this was the end of the soul-crushing video call. Meta's vision, articulated through products like Horizon Workrooms, was one of co-presence. Imagine holographic meetings where you could feel the energy in the room, brainstorm on infinite whiteboards, and collaborate on 3D models as if you were all physically there. Your commute would be the time it takes to put on a headset. Geography would become irrelevant. Productivity, they claimed, would be untethered from the office. For our social lives, it was a promise to transcend the screen. This wasn't just about gaming, it was about living inside new worlds. You could attend concerts with friends who lived thousands of miles away, explore ancient Rome on a Tuesday afternoon, or simply hang out in a virtual space that felt as real and as comfortable as your own home. It was pitched as the next evolution of social connection, a way to share experiences, not just updates. A place where you could be anyone and go anywhere, and underpinning it all was a new economy. A universe of digital commerce where you could buy, sell, and create. Virtual clothing for your avatar, designed by a digital fashion house. Exclusive digital art for your virtual home. A new frontier for creators and brands to build entire economies from scratch. The Metaverse wasn't just a place to visit, it was a place to own a piece of. This was the ultimate promise. A digital utopia. A universe without borders. A place you don't just access, you live in. It was a breathtaking vision, meticulously crafted and backed by billions of dollars. But behind the colorful animations and the relentless corporate optimism was a truth Meta never admitted, perhaps even to itself. They had no clear idea what the Metaverse actually was. Or more importantly, how people would use it. The grand vision was sold to the public as a finished masterpiece, but internally, it was a sketch with no blueprint, a revolution with no clear purpose. The foundational questions, the what and the why, remained unanswered. Engineers and designers inside Meta quietly joked that no two teams were building the same thing. Was it a 3D version of Facebook, a new social network built on avatars and virtual spaces? Or was it a global gaming platform, a competitor to Roblox and Fortnite? Others still were convinced they were creating the future of work, a B2B enterprise solution. Each division was chasing its own version of the dream, operating in silos. The result was a fractured identity, a company spending $10 billion a year on a concept its own creators couldn't agree on, a trillion-dollar empire with thousands of employees, and not a single unified vision. The impossible dream was beginning to look like an impossible mess. While Meta poured billions of dollars and countless hours into building a new digital universe, the real world reacted with a deafening silence. The grand vision, meticulously crafted in boardrooms and design labs, was met not with applause, but with apathy. The digital frontier they promised felt less like a new world and more like an empty stage after the show had been canceled. Horizon Worlds, the flagship Metaverse experience, was supposed to become the new center of human interaction, a bustling digital metropolis for work, play, and connection. Instead, it became a ghost town. The numbers told a story of profound failure. Meta had set an internal goal of reaching 500,000 monthly active users by the end of 2022. They quietly revised that target down to 280,000. The reality? The platform struggled to keep even 200,000 users. Most of the worlds built by users were never visited by a single other person. The new center of human interaction was eerily, profoundly empty. For the few who did venture in, the experience was often one of immediate friction. The onboarding process itself was a barrier, a confusing maze of menus, settings, and tutorials that felt more like a chore than an invitation. Users reported feeling lost before they even took their first virtual step. This wasn't the seamless entry into a new reality they were promised. It was a clunky, frustrating digital bureaucracy. Many simply gave up, logging out before they ever truly logged in. Those who persevered found nothing. Vast, empty spaces with low-fidelity graphics that felt years behind modern video games. They found glitches, floating objects, and a pervasive sense of incompletion. And then there were the avatars, legless torsos floating awkwardly through space. It was a strange, almost comical design choice that became a symbol of the metaverse's disconnect from user expectations. The entire internet mocked it, turning a technical limitation into a viral punchline for the whole project. The most damning indictment, however, came from within. Meta employees were encouraged, even pressured, to use the metaverse for their own meetings and social gatherings. The directive from leadership was clear: live in the future you are building. But behind closed doors, they avoided it. Leaked memos revealed managers complaining that their teams simply weren't spending any time in Horizon worlds. The platform was plagued with performance issues and a user experience so poor that even its creators opted out. Some employees reported it took over 30 minutes just to get a virtual meeting started, battling bugs and login problems. Others gave up entirely, finding it far more efficient to switch back to the old reliable Zoom. The irony was stark. The very people paid to build the next generation of communication were reverting to the technology it was designed to replace. When the people building the product don't want to use it, it's more than just a red flag. It's a sign that the foundation is broken. Something was deeply, fundamentally wrong with Meta's new reality. There was an even bigger problem Meta failed to see: the cultural barrier. Most people do not want to detach from the physical world. They don't want to socialize through cartoon avatars. And they don't want to wear a headset that feels like a brick strapped to their face. VR has always struggled with comfort, eye strain, motion sickness, heat, isolation. Meanwhile, Facebook, now Meta, was still drowning in distrust. Cambridge Analytica, misinformation crises, leaked internal documents, ethical scandals. The world was not ready to hand Zuckerberg control of an even more immersive world. The metaverse required faith, but the brand behind it had lost the world's trust. Inside Meta's financial reports, a silent disaster was growing. Buried deep within the quarterly earnings calls and the dense pages of SEC filings, a story was unfolding, not of innovation, but of hemorrhage. A story told in numbers so large they seemed abstract, almost unreal. But for Meta, the bleeding was all too real. The source was Reality Labs, the division responsible for building the metaverse. This wasn't just a side project. It was the designated successor to the mobile internet, the company's next great act. It was where all of Meta's hardware ambitions, from VR headsets to AR glasses, were supposed to converge into a single, profitable ecosystem. Instead, it was losing money at a speed never seen before in big tech. The losses weren't a slow leak. They were a torrent. In 2021, the year of the grand rebranding, Reality Labs posted a staggering operating loss of $10.2 billion. This was framed as a necessary down payment on the future. But in 2022, the hole grew deeper, with losses hitting $13.7 billion. By 2023, the annual loss had ballooned to an eye-watering $16.1 billion. The trend was undeniable and terrifying. The more Meta spent, the more it lost. Each quarter added billions more to the pile. The numbers were relentless. $3.7 billion in Q1 2024, another $4.6 billion in Q2. By the time the company looked ahead to 2025, the cumulative damage was catastrophic. The total losses surpassed $70 billion, $70 billion. A sum larger than the entire GDP of many countries. A figure that could fund NASA's budget for nearly 3 years. This wasn't just aggressive investment. This wasn't just long-term R&D. The company's own CFO admitted that a significant portion of the losses were operational. The cost of simply running a digital world nobody was in and selling hardware for less than it cost to make. This was a financial black hole, swallowing Meta from the inside. Wall Street, once patient, finally panicked. In 2022, Meta's stock collapsed by over 70%, wiping out more than $500 billion in market value. The fallout inside the company was brutal. In 6 months, Zuckerberg executed the largest layoff in company history, cutting over 20,000 employees in what he grimly termed the year of efficiency. But while thousands of employees were losing their jobs, the Metaverse was losing its users. The platform was a ghost town. Internal documents revealed that most users didn't return after their first month. Daily usage estimates for its flagship social world, Horizon Worlds, dropped below 900 people, a number so small it barely qualifies as a closed beta, let alone a world-changing platform. The math was simple and devastating. Meta was spending billions of dollars a quarter to sustain a virtual world with fewer active residents than a single city block. It wasn't building the future. It was burning money to fund a dream the world had already and decisively rejected. Behind the scenes, chaos ruled Meta's Metaverse division. Teams clashed over product direction, leaders resigned, engineers left for competitors like Apple, Nvidia, Anthropic, and Meta's greatest rival, OpenAI. The most shocking truth? For years, Meta didn't have a clear technological roadmap. Billions were spent exploring ideas with no connection, no strategy, and no user demand. It wasn't simply a failed product, it was a failed vision. After years of denial, Meta quietly began turning away from the Metaverse and toward artificial intelligence. Zuckerberg launched Meta AI, integrated large language models into every product, and transformed Meta Ray-Ban into an AI wearable instead of a VR gateway. The company that once tried to escape reality was now adapting to it. The Metaverse did not die, it simply became irrelevant. The Metaverse wasn't the first failed digital utopia, and it won't be the last. But unlike those experiments, the Metaverse has a unique place in history. It revealed the limits of Silicon Valley's belief that technology can replace human connection. People don't want to live in cartoon worlds. People don't want to meet their co-workers as floating torsos. People don't want to escape reality. They want reality to improve. The Metaverse didn't fail because the idea was wrong. It failed because it demanded too much from people and delivered too little. It failed because culture, timing, technology, economics, leadership, and trust all collapsed at the same time. But perhaps the biggest lesson is this. Even the largest tech company on Earth can misread humanity. As AI becomes the next revolution, the world should remember the Metaverse, not as a dream, but as a warning. Because the next collapse may cost far more than money.